My husband calls me his ugly old lady and didn't understand why it bothered me until 2 days ago. My husband Eric had always been a jokester, and it's one of the things I fell in love with. But over the years, the jokes became meaner. He started calling me his old ball and chain when his buddies were around. He'd pat my stomach and say, "Expanding again this year?" Or tell his coworkers how some people aged like fine wine and how unfortunately I was aging like cheese. They'd laugh, but their faces would always look just as uncomfortable as mine. Then last week, during my birthday dinner with his parents, Eric raised his glass and stood up to toast me. "To my beautiful wife," he said, and for a second my heart lifted. Then he grinned and added, "My adorably ugly old lady, happy birthday. Here's to another year. Only a few more until I get to collect that life insurance policy, right?" Everyone at the table laughed nervously. I felt my heart sink in disappointment. "You know your joke really went too far this time," I told him in the car later. "Actually, all of your jokes lately have been nothing but mean, and I don't appreciate it." I fought back tears as I explained how much his words hurt, how every joke chipped away at my confidence, how I didn't recognize myself anymore because I'd started to believe the things he said about me. He pulled up on the side of the road and stared at me for a long moment before saying, "Babe, are you serious? You're being dramatic over nothing. It was just light teasing. You know me, but I've also been telling you for weeks how much I didn't like your jokes," I said quietly. "Well, it's not like they're lies. You are getting older, and it doesn't help that you've been letting yourself go ever since we had kids. Can't you just do what most people do and let it go in one ear and out the other?" he suggested. That's when I realized he'd never understand, not unless he felt it himself. The next morning, I opened up about the situation to our family and friends. His sister stayed quiet for a long time before admitting, "I've been watching him do this to you for years. You deserve better, and we'll help him see that." She started it off casually the next time she met with my husband. "Hey Eric, I noticed your hair's been thinning. Don't worry, bald is attractive. On some people," she said. I watched Eric touch his head, forcing his smile. Then during his golf game, Eric's best friend called him his little punching bag, mentioning how hard it was constantly beating him in each match. This time, Eric got annoyed and told him to back off. His friend just grinned and patted his back. "Come on, man, learn to take a joke." Eric's mom also made comments over dinner. "Eric, honey, are those new pants? They make you look a little frumpy. Maybe you should hit the gym more." She said it so sweetly that he couldn't argue. Even his coworkers had joined him, calling him Mr. Mediocre in meetings and making jokes about his boring presentations. One guy even patted his shoulder and said in that same sarcastic tone Eric always used on me, "Don't worry, buddy, not everyone can be a star." By the end of the week, Eric was coming home looking more defeated each day. He'd check himself in the mirror constantly, adjusting his shirt or running his hand over his thinning hair. He stopped making jokes entirely. Then last night, he came home and collapsed onto the couch next to me. He put his head in his hands and just sat there for a long moment. "I don't know what's happening," he finally said. "It's like everyone's turned against me. My best friend thinks I'm a punching bag. My coworkers think I'm mediocre and boring. Even my own mother thinks I look terrible." His voice cracked. "And my boss, the one person whose opinion actually mattered to me, called me his adorable little slacker in front of my whole team today. I've never felt so humiliated." He looked at me with genuine pain in his eyes. "I feel like I'm not good enough at anything anymore. Like I'm just this pathetic, balding, frumpy guy who peaked years ago and everyone can see it but me." I sat there listening to him list every single insecurity that had been planted in him over the past week. The same insecurities he'd been planting in me for years. The same words, the same tone, the same crushing weight of being torn down by the people who were supposed to love you. I took a breath and said quietly, "Now you know exactly how I felt." He froze for a moment, color draining from his face. Then he whispered, "This is what you meant? All this time I've been doing this to you." He covered his face with his hands. "I thought I was being funny. I thought you knew I didn't mean it, but you kept doing it after I told you it hurt," I said softly. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Then he took my hands in his and said, "You're not aging like cheese. You're not letting yourself go. You're beautiful, and I've been such a complete idiot. I'm so sorry." He pulled me into a hug, and I felt his whole body shaking. "I'll never say anything like that again," he promised. "I swear. And if I ever slip up, call me out immediately." I smiled and hugged him back.